Hello, my name is Tierney, and this is a video of my article in the June 2011 edition of the Oracle Scene magazine, because Oracle Data Miner comes of age. Oracle Data Miner has been around for a very long time. With the new tool, which was released in March with SQL Developer 3, a lot of the shortcomings in the original tool have been addressed. We now have a large number of new features. Okay, so this is the first major release in quite a few years, and one of the primary benefits of it is that we now have a workflow based environment. The main features or new features can be categorized under the following headings. If we have a look at the first one, we have data exploration. We will an easier interface to work with a lot more kind of colors and being able to identify and the key attributes, looking at the different distributions of the values within those, and various kind of statistical. For each of these attributes we can drill in and gather more details and look at the distributions of the values for each attribute based on target values that we're going to be looking at. One of the major benefits of the new tool is this workflow type interface. This is in keeping with the type of interfaces that are available in most of the other data mining tools, like in particular SAS Enterprise Miner, where we can now build up a workflow of all the processing that needs to happen, from defining our data sources, defining what transformations and data processing we want to find on it, running our data mining algorithm, and then applying to our different data sources. Another major advantage over the previous edition of the tool is that we can generate multiple models at the same time. Under the previous edition of the tool, you'd have to create the models individually. So for each model you want to create, you have to go in and select it, define it against the data source, set up the parameters and run it, and we get the output from it. So if you wanted to generate, say, a data mining model for each of the, say, classification techniques, you'd have to do it 4 times, which is a bit of a laborious exercise. And typically within data mining you want to generate lots of models, okay, lots and lots of models. So being able to generate the multiple models at the same time is very useful. So if we take, for example, here the classification models, you can run 4 models at the same time rather than having to go through the setup and configuration for all 4 of them. Another kind of add-on from being able to generate the multiple models is that we can now evaluate the models, all the models generated, at the same time. Under the previous edition of the tool, you were able to look at one model valuation criteria at a time. So you'd end up by having lots of multiple windows open at the same time, or you'd be doing a cut and paste from the windows into something like Word, kind of copying the images and being able to try to align up the images to see if you can get anything useful out of it. So being able to see the output from all the different models that you've just generated together in one place is brilliant. So it eliminates the kind of alignment and trying to work out, are we on the same scale or not, and being able to very quickly delve into the different kind of performance criteria and being able to select a model that's of most appropriate use. The final major new feature within the tool is to do with the graphical output. Okay, the graphical representations. We can now produce decision trees. We can drill into them, we can roll them up, we can drill down into them, we can look at the split criteria, and we can generate the rules that's required for exploring these rules. So we're getting started with the Oracle Data Miner 11G or 2. What do you need to get started? Well, you're going to need the 11.2 Enterprise Edition database. So it won't work on any of the previous editions. I have a set of videos on how to set up Oracle Data Miner users, setting up the repository, and I have a couple of other videos in the series, and I'll be adding more on each of the different features of Oracle Data Miner 11.2 tool over the coming months. So make sure you check back regularly, or maybe subscribe to my channel on YouTube. So we're going to take a little break now, and we're going to go and have a look at using the tool. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new project. We give it a name, give it a bit of a description, click OK. And under the project, we need to create a new workflow. And now we're ready to get going. Most of the tools and techniques and workflow items that you need to get used to and use will be under our workflow editor. Okay, so we have a few different options here, from models, evaluate, apply, data, transforms, text, and linking nodes. To start with, what we need to do is we need to find a new data item. Okay, so we need to effectively define a data source. The first thing we do is we define a data source. So by clicking and dragging onto our work surface, we can define that. It automatically pops up and has a look at the list of tables and views that we have available. So we can select the one that we want to bring in. So we can have a look at the different tables and views and the corresponding columns that we have. Select next. We can decide, do we want to bring them all in or a subset of them? So we can bring them all in or not. So they're all in and finish. We can right click on it, we can go in and edit some of the details, list attributes, define data wizard, and we can run nodes. So by running it, it'll go off, query the database. When things are running, you'll see a little kind of wheel appearing at the top. And when it's finished, then gathering all it's done and viewing everything that it needs to do, then you can go in and have a look at it. So we can go in and have a look at the actual underlying data. Okay, now to gather some statistics on it, what we need to do is we need to explore the data. So by going over to our component workflow palette, we can again under data select explore data, click and drag on that, we'll bring it out, and then we need to link the nodes. Okay, again right click on this, run. Again we get the little wheel which tells us that things are working. We also get a little message up at the top here to let us know that things are working too. Once we get our ticks on each of the nodes, we know they have finished and we have gathered the data. Again, if we right click and go down to view data, we get lots of graphs and statistics about our data. So if we just bring this up a bit, so as we click on each of the different things, we get to view different aspects of it. So we'll just close that. The next stage is that we want to create some data mining models on it. So in this particular case, we want to look at some classification techniques to find out which ones, which particular model is good at determining the class or the type of the data that we have in it. So again, like before, if we go up to model and classification, so we can see all the different ones that we have. So under classification, click and drag, we'll create a node for us. Okay, we'll want to link the node. We can specify our target attribute. In this particular case is affinity card, so whether they have an affinity card or not, or whether the attributes of them tend to give a good customer or not. Case ID is like the primary key, so we want to ignore those. So this is something that identifies each unique record, so we can ignore those. And then it tells us here's the available classification algorithms that are available, and we can say which ones we want to include. We can then go in and look at some of the more advanced features. Okay. Or we can click run to finish. Now, when we're finished that, what we can do now is we can run it. We get our tick to say that it's all finished. So to look at the results, we can right click, we can go view models or view test results, compare test results. So if we want to look at ones individually, we can select those, or to get an overall view of it. So here what we get is an idea of the predictive confidence, the average accuracy, overall accuracy. Okay, we can look at some performance metrics. Okay, we can bring in costs if we have them. We can look at the ROC charts, the ROC charts. We can look at the lift and kind of profit on it. Okay. Now, if we wanted to have a look at some of the graphical output, so in this particular case, we want to look at the decision tree. So we right click on the classification mode, we go down to view model, decision tree. And this gives us our decision tree. Okay. Again, we can zoom in and out. We can make it fit size and stuff like that. And we can go exploring the details of each one. We can see what the rule is for the split. Okay. And what falls into each case. At each particular node, we can see the number of yes and no splits, the percentages, and the support and confidence that applies for each of those. And that's your classification done. Now, one of the things we've done is we've decided, or we've run some classification algorithms, we've looked at the evaluation criteria, and out of which you can decide which one is the most appropriate one to use for your particular problem. So in this particular case, what we want to do is we want to apply one of those models to our new data. Okay, so what we need to do is define a data source. In this particular case, we want to select mining data apply view. Select that, finish. We want to bring in all the attributes. Okay. Now we want to apply it. Okay, so we select under the evaluate and apply the apply node. What we do here is we now link the new data, the new on-scene data, to the apply node, and we also need to tell Oracle Data Miner what algorithm to apply. Okay, so we click on class build, property inspector, and what we want to do is select the one that we want to run. So I'll say in this particular case, we just want to run, say, the decision tree. So we'll leave that one as the only one that's active. Now we need to, the final thing that we need to do is we need to create a new data store to store the results, and then connect the apply node to the output. If we edit this, we can see that it pulls in the predictive value and the probability of it. Okay. If we edit this, we can see what the values are, data columns, and we may need to put in something else, maybe like customer number. And then what we can do is we can run all of that. When everything's run, we can look at the data. In this particular case, what we get is the customer ID, so the original record come back. We can see what's the class value that it recommends and the probability of that being right. Here are my contact details, so if you have any questions or suggestions, you can drop me an email. Or you can follow me on Twitter. Here's a couple of my web addresses, mainly to my data mining stuff. If you want to kind of get access to some more of my Oracle Data Miner notes and stuff, drop me an email and I'll send you on a link. I also have a couple of blogs. The first of the blogs here is my main blog, and that's kind of all things Oracle Data Mining, data kind of related topics.